Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We are getting started with our Madden 24 franchise. A lot of you don't know probably that have recently joined the channel that I actually did a lot of Madden videos last year before I started doing NCAA videos. But we are going to do a franchise for the Seahawks. I ran a poll. If you guys missed it, the number one team selected was the Seahawks with the majority of the vote, and they're also my hometown team. So if you want the best Seahawks franchise, I will probably know more about the Seahawks than any other franchise you're going to watch this year. Just a reminder too, last year we did a Madden 23 Lions fantasy franchise. This year we're doing a Seahawks franchise, no fantasy draft, and this is what the roster is looking like. We got Geno Smith at QB, we got Kenneth Walker at halfback, we got Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith-Njigba at wide receiver. And then the offensive line is looking pretty solid. Damian Lewis actually is a 77 overall with star dev this time. So just the interior of the O-line with the center and our right guard is not that great, but obviously Abraham Lucas, Charles Cross are really good. Noah Fant's pretty solid. Will Dissly is okay, and Colby Parkinson is just 6'7" and can't really do anything else. Now on the defensive side of the ball, starting at safety position, we now have Julian Love, Quandre Diggs, and Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is obviously more of a box safety, and we lost Brian Neal in free agency. Looking at our corners, Tariq Woolen is fantastic. Devin Witherspoon got drafted 5th overall this year. Mike Jackson is okay. Kobe Bryant's okay. Aside from that, we don't have a lot of depth at corner. And then looking at linebacker, we got Uchenna Nwosu because we switched to a 3-4 defense, and we got Darrell Taylor and Derek Hall, who are some interesting outside linebackers for the team. Interior linebacker, we got Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner, and Devin Bush, who is just kind of like a speed demon, little 5'11" middle linebacker. And then looking at the defensive line, Jerron Reed has rejoined the team. We got Brian Monet, who is our #1 nose tackle at 68 overall, so that's obviously a huge weakness for the team. Draymond Jones by way of the Broncos, and overall the defense is not that bad. I mean, this team is expected to make the playoffs. Guys, I'm super excited for this series. Let me know if you're excited in the comments, and really the biggest question mark with this team is what we're going to do in the future with Geno Smith at quarterback. He's 32 years old, but he's not that bad, and he could probably play for another 3 or 4 years. The only problem is that he only has normal dev. And in my personal opinion, probably the most exciting player on this roster is the rookie JSN, who is a fantastic slot wide receiver. Really excited to see how he develops as a player, but he's already a beast. I expect big things out of him this preseason to begin with. Of course, you can't forget about probably the highest upside player on the roster with Tariq Woolen, who's 6'4" and almost has 4.2 speed. A lot of you guys that watch my Lions franchise from last year will know that he was on that roster as well, and obviously just a stud of a player. The only problem with him this year is that his man coverage is way worse than his zone coverage. Doesn't make sense. The overrating of Sauce Gardner is insane. At least Tariq Woolen deserves to be on a similar level to him. All right, we simmed the first 2 preseason games. We're about to go into our 3rd preseason game, but we have wide receiver mentorship from Tyler Lockett for JSN, and so we're going to upgrade his getting open. And since he's already an elite slot receiver, just coming straight out of the draft at 21 years old, we're going to continue to build on his strengths and give him a +2 release, and then he's going to get a +2 to short route running. All right, we've got some upgrades before we go into our 3rd preseason game against the Packers. First one being for Derek Hall, and Derek Hall, if you guys don't know, is more of a power and speed rusher. He's an outside linebacker, sort of an edge rusher, but he does have crazy good speed. He could definitely take over Darrell Taylor's spot, but upgrading his power rushing gets him +3 to tackle and +1 to power moves. Devin Witherspoon is getting an upgrade. The guy that I hope is a mix of Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. We're going to upgrade his slot because he's already a good big hitter. He plays excellent man coverage, and I want his zone to get up a little bit more as well. JSN is getting an upgrade that's going to take him to an 80 overall as a 21-year-old rookie wide receiver. Upgrading his slot is going to get him a boost to awareness, catching traffic, catching, and medium route. Ken Walker is going to get an upgrade to his elusive back, trying to get him to a 90 overall as quickly as possible and get him hopefully to superstar X Factor. We also need to upgrade his receiving back because that is really low right now. Tariq Woolen is already an 83 overall, but we're going to upgrade his man. Despite it saying that he's going to be an 80 at man coverage, he has a 71 man coverage right now, so we need to boost that up as much as possible. All right, we're going to get some actual game action. Going into the highlights for our 3rd preseason game, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of ugly to start out with. Geno does a good job scrambling, but we couldn't score on our first drive. Somehow Teddy Bridgewater is the starting quarterback for the Packers over Jordan Love. Towards the end of the first quarter, Luke Musgrave absolutely burns Quandre Diggs. We tried a crack toss on our next drive, and Quay Walker blew it up and threw Ken Walker into the ground. It was Walker on Walker crime. Geno Smith sitting in the pocket, can't get the ball off in time, takes a sack. Teddy rolls to his left and completes another another pass, and fun fact, Teddy Bridgewater started this game 15 for 15 passing the ball, and on the very next play, they run double slants, and they do get into the end zone despite the penalty, and take a 14-0 lead early in the second quarter. Like I said, it was ugly early, but Geno did make his best throw of the game on this play, finding Noah Fant for a diving catch. Unfortunately, we couldn't score after that amazing play by Geno and Noah Fant, and on the very next drive by the Packers, Christian Watson burns Tariq Woolen on a slant. Again, his man coverage is way too low, and he takes it all the way for a touchdown. We find JSN, and this is when JSN starts to get cooking. We run a bubble screen RPO. JSN is able to pick up the first down off of it, weaving through a couple of defenders, and then again on a drag route, we find JSN once again leading this drive kind of single-handedly at this point. On 3rd and 9, who do we look for again? JSN once again getting us down to the 5-yard line. On 1st and goal, we run Ken Walker, and Ken Walker almost gets into the end zone, but he suffers an injury. And what do you think the injury is? You're wrong. It's a torn pectoral, and he is going to be out for the rest of the season. That means we're going to be relying heavily on Zach Charbonnet this year, who does get into the end zone for a touchdown, along with DJ Dallas and Kenny McIntosh. In the 4th quarter, Jordan Love puts the final nail in the coffin, scoring another touchdown over the middle, throwing it right over Nick Bellor's head, who gets maybe an inch of vert. And I'll be honest, I was thinking about converting him back to fullback, but after watching this play, I just decided to straight up cut him. And we walk out of Green Bay losing 31-10. Looking again at the injuries after the game, not only did Ken Walker suffer a season-ending injury, Devin Bush is going to be missing 6 weeks with a dislocated ankle. After week 3, it's final cut week, and we cut Crystal immediately, who's just a long snapper, and then we cut Greg Eland as well, who is 25 years old, but he's a 55 overall guard. Normally, I'd dive deeper into cuts and stuff like that, but we are a little bit behind, and I want to get us into the regular season as quickly as possible, and our first game is coming up against the Rams. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. Please leave a like. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video in week 1.